Try to remember what you did on this exact day, 3 years ago. You can't. But you can vividly remember summer afternoons from when you were 7. Back then, a single vacation felt like an entire lifetime. Last year, it was over in weeks. You tell yourself you're just busy. You aren't. A clock always ticks at 60 seconds a minute, but your brain runs on a biological metronome. And that metronome is broken. It is constantly speeding up. Time is physically accelerating inside your head. You aren't imagining it. Your reality is collapsing. Most people assume time is a constant. We measure it in the decay of cesium atoms. We build atomic clocks that won't lose a second in 100 million years. We trust the math. But human beings don't experience physics. We experience neurochemistry, and your neurochemistry is a terrible timekeeper. To understand why your life is slipping away from you, you have to look at a French philosopher named Paul Janet. In 1897, he proposed something called the proportional theory of time perception. It is brilliantly simple and absolutely devastating. Janet argued that your brain measures time not in seconds, but in proportions of the life you have already lived. When you are 1 year old, a single year represents 100% of your entire existence. Every day is a massive, overwhelming fraction of your reality. When you turn 10, a year is only 10% of your life. When you turn 50, it is just 2%. Your brain naturally shrinks the value of the present against the weight of the past. Mathematically speaking, the halfway point of your perceived life isn't middle age. Depending on how you calculate the logarithmic curve of memory, you experience half of your subjective life before you blow out the candles on your 18th birthday. Everything after that, the career, the marriage, the retirement, is just the back half of the curve, compressing faster and faster until the end. But the math is only the beginning. The real horror is happening inside your physical biology. Your brain is not a video camera. It does not record a continuous stream of reality. It is a biological survival engine, and it is obsessed with efficiency. Every second, your eyes dart around the room in rapid movements called saccades. During these movements, your brain actually stops processing visual information so you don't get motion sickness. You are technically blind for up to 40 minutes every single day. To fill in the gaps, your brain just pastes in whatever it expects to be there. It renders your reality like a video game loading low-resolution textures in the background. When you were a child, the world was dangerous because it was unknown. Fire was hot, gravity hurt, strangers were unpredictable. Your brain was in a state of hypervigilance, recording reality at the highest possible frame rate. It was packing millions of novel data points into your neural networks every single day to ensure you survived. Psychologists call this memory density. The more novel information your brain records, the longer that period of time feels when you look back on it. That is why your childhood felt infinite. Your brain was writing 1,000 pages of data a day, but then you grew up. You learned how the world works. You got a job. You started driving the same route to work. You started talking to the same people. You started eating the same meals. You stopped surviving and you started repeating. When your brain encounters something it has already seen, it stops recording. It goes into autopilot. Why waste precious metabolic energy encoding the memory of your 1,000th commute? It already has the blueprint, so it simply discards the data. Entire days, weeks, and months are thrown out of your memory before they even register. You wake up, you go to work, you scroll on your phone, you go to sleep. Your brain doesn't record any of it. When you look back at the last year, there is no data there. The file is empty, and without data, there is no perception of time. The year didn't fly by. It was literally deleted from your consciousness. In a very real neurological sense, you are sleepwalking through your own existence. You are a biological machine running on a cached version of reality. There is a specific chemical responsible for this: dopamine. We talk about dopamine like it is just the reward chemical, the thing that makes you addicted to social media. But neuroscientists know it is much more than that. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that dictates your internal clock. When you experience something completely new, a rush of dopamine signals your brain to pay attention. It dilates your perception of the moment. It stretches the seconds out. Have you ever been in a car crash or slipped and fallen? In those terrifying moments, time seems to freeze. The world moves in slow motion. That is a massive spike of dopamine and adrenaline, forcing your brain to process data at maximum capacity to keep you alive. As we age, our baseline dopamine levels naturally drop. The world becomes less exciting, less threatening, less novel. The biological metronome slows down its recording speed, but the world keeps spinning at the exact same pace. The mismatch between the two is what you feel as the terrifying acceleration of years. But it gets worse. Your brain doesn't just stop recording time, it physically dismantles the hardware used to experience it. Through a process called synaptic pruning, your brain destroys neural pathways that aren't being actively used. It is a ruthless accountant. If you aren't forcing your brain to learn new languages, navigate new environments, or solve new problems, it literally tears down the architecture of your curiosity. This isn't just about feeling like you're in a rut. You are physically losing the neural capacity to experience the world with the depth you once had. The less you do, the less you can do. Comfort is the enemy of time. The perfectly temperature-controlled apartment, the algorithmic entertainment, the predictable routine. We built a society designed to eliminate friction. We designed a perfect world, just like the mice in Universe 25 experiment. And just like them, we are quietly suffocating in it. We traded our time for comfort, and the transaction is irreversible. So, how do you fix it? How do you stop the collapse? You can't change the math. You can't change Paul Janet's proportional theory. But you can force the machine to start recording again. You have to break the cache. You have to inject friction back into your life. Travel to places where you don't speak the language. Take a different route home. Learn something you are terrible at. You have to force your brain to feel stupid, vulnerable, and awake. You have to manufacture the novelty of childhood because it is the only way to generate the dopamine required to stretch out the seconds. If you don't, the math is absolute. If you are 30 years old today and you live to be 90, the last 60 years of your life will feel significantly shorter than the first 30. You are standing on the edge of a slope, and it only gets steeper. The days will bleed into weeks, the weeks into years. The machine will stop recording. Every single species on this planet is just trying to survive the day. We are the only one desperately trying to remember it. The clock is ticking, your brain is ignoring it. What you do with the time that is left is entirely up to you.